For the future, Roy rushed to call his wife, saying he realizes his mistake and had a gift for her. But because the hurt was too deep, his wife turned him down. A heartbroken Roy decided to drink his sorrows away. But as soon as he opened the freezer, time had passed once again. By now his friends had disappeared, and he came into the living room and found his wife at home again. Excited, he threw his arms around her, but to his surprise, he turned around and there was his ex-girlfriend. He was at a loss for words. He didn't know what was going on. But as he was asking his ex-girlfriend about it, his wife suddenly arrives. He rushed to shoo his ex-girlfriend away and then apologizes to his wife. This time his wife saw that Roy was sincere in his apology. She decided to forgive him for the time being. But to his surprise, during the break, the ex-girlfriend left her bra on the sofa. This time, the wife was devastated. She divorced Roy straight away. At this point, the ex who had been watching outside, he came over and said he'd get her in the end. But Roy, in a fit of rage, told her to get lost and never to see her again. Roy hadn't gotten over his anger yet. Once again, time passed, and his ex showed up at his house. It was then that Roy finally stopped obsessing. He just wanted to see his wife one last time. He called his friends to go with him, but on the way there, he suddenly finds out that his friend had cancer too, and it was already in its final stages. Soon after arriving at the place, Roy and his friends said they would see each other next year. Then he arrived at his wife's new home. He continued to confess his mistake and begged to get back together, but his wife rightly refused, and while Roy was at a loss, he arrives at their 7th wedding anniversary. By now his wife had a new husband. Finally Roy could not take it anymore. Had a big fight with his wife's husband. Then he took his wife's dog and confided in him on the beach. But when he looked up afterwards, the little puppy had become a big, fierce dog, and he had grown a beard. But the broken man didn't care anymore. Now he's lost the meaning of life, and with a quick touch, and found a chocolate peanut bar, and he happens to be severely allergic to peanuts. But the second before he put the chocolate in his mouth, a girl called out to him. Roy looked confused. He told her to go home to her father. But then the little girl suddenly reached out and pointed at him. She turned out to be Roy's daughter, but in his mind's eye, there was no picture of his daughter. Finally, he took his daughter by the hand and took him home, asking her if she wanted any presents. She said she needed her father's company. After all these years, I haven't seen you many times. And then another moment of time passed. By this time Roy had put away his disheveled into a sober look. The first thing he did was contact his friend to ask for something, but to his surprise, the number was no longer available. So through his circle of friends, he found a photo of himself and his friend before he died. Another one where he had spent his last days with his friend. Finally Roy went to his friend's grave, crying about a life he had wasted, quietly welcoming the next passage of time.